glad to have you here with us today.
I'll just say this right off the top. I had a really big self-tanner fail last night, and I looked at my hand today, and I want to be able to talk with my hands, and so I'm just going to go on and tell everybody, hi. It is completely orange, and I'm like, it is what it is. And so I was like, this is not the day for this, but here we are. So, here we are.
Clearly you're hilariously funny, but
Depends on the day.
you never intended to be a comedian.
No, ma'am.
You were a worship leader.
Yes.
You had a marriage that was going south.
Yes.
Life was falling apart.
Yes.
And you decided to post a video one night to your friends.
Yeah.
And you woke up the next morning, was it 2 million views?
It was millions. I don't remember
It
how
was
many,
millions,
but it was
y'all. It
a
was
lot.
millions.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Do you remember what you said on it?
I don't remember my first video. Oh, yes, I do. I think the first video was about tax-free weekend, maybe. But it was just, not meant for the public. It was just meant for my girlfriends who dared me to do it. And I don't even remember what the dare was, but it was obviously a mature decision that I made in my 40s to take a dare. And so I put this video up. So I had I didn't know what it said. I didn't even know I said I ain't doing it in this stupid video. The world told me that I did. And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So they sort of led me in this direction.
So what did that feel like the next morning? I'm sure everybody was calling you going, people are all over the world quoting, I ain't doing it. Like millions of people. It
felt weird. It felt, people have asked me this a lot, like, did you feel like exposed and I've never felt that way. I feel like everybody's my friend, or like when I am in front of people, like I already know them all. So I kind of felt like, just families looking at it. It's just like people. They're just it's not a big deal. But it did feel overwhelming to start developing a fan base. I'm like,
and
this
a brand.
Is a lot. And a brand.
You had to start creating content.
Yeah.
If you wanted to keep that gift you got given that almost nobody gets.
Right.
Of millions of people who wanted to hear what you
Well,
had to
they
say.
tell me I still do have to create content. It gets harder and harder the older I get.
Content creation
it's a lot.
Rough.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. My brain doesn't work that fast these days, It's a lot.
And you were, I've wondered about this too, reading, so much about you the last few weeks. It was coming, you were doing something humorous, and I know often comedians say they create out of their pain.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, everybody knows you, and you're in one of the most raw chapters of your life. I just wondered how that felt.
Yeah. I think it probably felt liberating for me in a lot of ways. I am a perpetual oversharer. I'm the girl that says, when you say, I like your top, I'm like, thank you, I got it on Amazon for $5. Like, I can't not do that. And so, like, I'm a confessor. Like, I have to tell all the things. And I think for me to be able to express myself and for the world to know and accept it is very liberating for me.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So even though you probably were in a lot of grief,
sure,
this ultimate creativity thing came out, and it was probably really healing.
It was. And I think that, I had gone through a lot of grief in my first marriage before I ever left the marriage. And so I think I had really come to a place where it was really hard. I was a single mom raising my 2 kids. I was working for a friend of mine, doing some admin work when I had been a worship leader my whole life, so I really switched gears. I was back in my hometown, which I never wanted to live in. But there was a kind of a peace and a joy that I had in the middle of all that, because I had really said goodbye to a really hard time in my life. And so I think I was entering into a really, just a free season, So not to take away from the story, because it sounds better actually to be like, I was in all this grief, but really I was coming into myself and coming into a pretty good place. And so, and I think that was all God, like I was able to handle it in that moment. If I had been in the middle of grief, I don't know that I could have dealt with it,
I would agree with that, just given my own grief story.
Right.
The early stages of grief, I can't imagine creating in the way that because then you just began to create voraciously.
Right.
It's what it looks like now, looking back on
Yeah.
it.
Well, I think when you're in the middle of something and you're forced to create, that's just not authentic, right? And so to be in a space where you can think and where you feel creative, I mean, what a gift, you know, but those,
Right.
as you know, those times ebb and flow.
They ebb and flow, absolutely.
You're not always creative.
And you'd love to pull it up when you want to pull it up, and it's just not there.
Wouldn't you, though?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
so then where did it go? Well, first, where did the face come from? The I
Oh
ain't
my
doing it
gosh.
face. How did that?
Stinking Snapchat. You know, my son was 15 at the time, and he had showed me Snapchat, and so I thought, I just was scrolling through it, and I was like, oh, this is hideous. Let me make a video for my stupid girlfriends who will appreciate it. So we would just make these videos back and forth with that filter because it was
So you had done the
ridiculous.
filter before?
Well, just with my girlfriends, yeah. And then that's when one of my friends said, "You need to put this on social media. It's funny."
They got a barbecue station, a jerky station, a fudge station. I thought I was at a redneck wedding reception. Looked everywhere for the bride and groom, but I'm gonna tell you something though, shoot. I'd rather eat paint than to miss that again. No, I ain't doing it.
It is so crazy and stinking funny. It's like, and the thing that happens to me when watching their stuff is like, you say the thing everybody's kind of afraid to say, and you say it with that
Right.
that filter. It's so outrageously hilarious.
But it's the only way I can say. I mean,
I mean,
people
you
always
couldn't
say
stand
that.
there like that
No.
and do it.
I mean, I do stand up.
And you do stand
I
up,
do,
but it's
and
not the
that's-
same.
It's not the same as, you know, with the filter, when you're hiding behind a filter, you can go hard in the paint on people. But I would never say some of those things. Like, I'm
Right.
a tender heart, and most people don't know that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm also very sarcastic, but I have to choose my audience when I don't have a filter, you know, as we all do. So I think people appreciate, they do say, you say the thing that I wish I could say. And I'm like,
yeah.
I can't say it either. This filter's saying it
This
for me,
filter
right?
says it. When I was working on your interview, I was like, does half of her always stay in that place with that filter, and she is just going at you?
I think that I think there's always the sarcasm, but I think the meanness, if you will, that's behind
It's
some
not
of
mean.
it is
It's just that you go after topics,
Yeah.
just like the Halloween one.
right.
I mean,
Those are always there, but I think being, you know, harsh toward people in general or a people group, like, you know, I save that for my husband. Like, I talk to him about that. You know, I'm not too public about that. But is it always in my brain, or like the next joke or like the sarcasm? I think it's just built into me. I think it's just who I am. Maybe it's a coping mechanism from trauma. I don't know, but whatever the reason, there it is. I don't know if it'll ever go away.
and it's, to me, it's so brave. I don't know if you feel the bravery when you're doing that content.
It feels more like stupidity
Really?
than bravery. I don't know if I appreciate that, though.
No, it does.
I
though.
really
It's
do
like,
appreciate that.
because you say the thing
Yeah.
that we're all thinking about.
I think for some reason, bravery is not the word. I do think it is an aloofness. Like, maybe I'm like, oh, like, it doesn't really cross my mind a ton to go, you probably shouldn't say that. So I don't know. It's probably a gift, though, to be able to stand up and say the things I say from a stage, and to not guard it too much. I think that the world has truly given me this gift, and they've so leaned into it and appreciated that side of me that I don't have to worry so much. You know, they want it and they welcome it, and it's a gift to me to be able to not just have to be sweet and buttoned up all the time, because that's how I was growing up. I was not the life of the party.
I was going to ask, where was that voice when you were young and maturing in adolescence?
Oh, it was shut down.
Really?
It was shut down. I mean, I'm an only child, and I had a great life growing up. I lived on a street full of my family members. My grandmother lived right next door to me, and I was always really close with her. But I was an only child, and my mom was an addict, and my dad was a deacon in the church. So we had this really weird dynamic in our home, but we were in church 8 days a week, which probably just literally saved me, you know, gave me something to
How were you in
focus
church
on.
8 days a week?
We went to a Pentecostal church. That's
Okay.
how. And they're open a lot. And so we were there a lot. And but I loved it. And yeah, it was just it was this dynamic of And you know, everybody's so well intentioned, and I have such a loving family, and my parents are wonderful, and my mom's sober now, and we can talk about that more later. But
I'd love to.
She's
Thank you.
She's great. My dad's great. But at the time, you know, everybody was in survival mode.
Yeah.
So nobody knew, I think, how to handle this little girl that's kind of off to the side by herself. And
Totally
so
get it.
I just stayed sweet. You know, I think I learned a really messed up definition of what forgiveness meant. And I always, you know, like took it on the cheek and just kept moving. But it created great things in me. I became really independent, and, you know, a lot of things in my older age. But when I was young, I was very meek. I was a big people pleaser. You know, I've had to read a lot of books on that.
I know, but it keeps you safe as a child when you're in a situation like that. I totally get it. My mother had mental illness growing up, and you didn't know what you were going to get from one day to the next, whether it was going to be violent or you were going to be the best thing she'd ever seen, you know? And so you never knew. So you learned to be, as you said, you learned to be sweet.
Yeah.
You learned to be polite.
Well, you learn to not rock the boat because
That's
other people are rocking the boat. And you see, I think subconsciously you go, oh, my mom is really struggling. She's getting all this attention and she needs it. So I'm going to be good so that nobody has to worry about me.
You're exactly right. Are you willing to talk about your mom and her addiction?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it's tender.
Yeah. Well, it's less tender because she's so open about it herself.
Oh, that's amazing.
I never thought we would be here. It's really crazy.
It's redemption, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
She was addicted to pills, different kinds off and on, since I was in middle school, about 12 years old or so. And she had a doctor that prescribed her some Xanax, I think is where it started, for panic attacks. And she used them as prescribed for a few years until she didn't.
Yeah.
And that just started a big snowball effect. And so, you know, with any kind of addiction, you know, it's a lot of, there's a lot of lying. There's just, you know, you never know. Are we good today? Are we not? Like you said a minute ago.
Yeah.
So it was really hard. I felt very, I hate even saying this because I know my mom will probably watch and we have such a good relationship, but she's so disconnected from who she was then that I know she can handle it. But I didn't feel close to her. I didn't feel attached to her. I felt like I had to take care of her.
Well, how can you when you don't know what you're going to get?
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what you're attaching to.
Yeah.
So you armor yourself up.
Right. And I did that and yeah, so went through that song and dance for years and years. And then, you know, and my dad, so well intending and still with my mom. I mean, I think they're at 52 years now. And, you know, there were many times when I was like, I just wish they were not together. Now looking back, I'm so grateful that he stayed with her. He felt very called to her. And he, had he not stayed, I don't know what would have happened to her. And he did what he felt like he needed to do. I got a little lost in the mix. I'm fine. But I do like to tell that part of the story because I think we forget about the kids.
I think it's
who are in
so important
Yeah.
for our viewers to hear from a child who's grown up with a parent who's an addict and that you do get lost.
Yeah.
And so what do you say to that child or grown up today in that situation?
Man, I think I really say more to the grown up, which is you go easy on that baby and be attentive, you know, and because I think there were so many times when I remember my dad would say like, you need to be this, or you need to buy your mom a Mother's Day card, or you didn't call her enough, and you didn't, and I always was like, what about me? But I didn't know how to say what about me. And so that's been a lot of undoing in my adult life, is getting over resentment for that, of why did you not care more about me? Looking back, I know everybody was in survival mode. We did the best we could. But I think for adults who are in it to go, hey, this kid, whether they voice it or not, is being affected.
Oh, absolutely. And the quiet kid, the good kid, is usually the one who's going to suffer the most later.
Yeah.
Because
and
they're
the
just
good
bottling
kid,
it all up.
maybe not even the good kid, but at some point, I mean, I had to get to a point where I said, I'm done with this. And I had to lay down the boundary.
I was going to say, what kind of boundaries did you put in place to keep yourself
And it was
okay?
tough.
And it was for a long time, well into your adult life.
Well, I tried to set boundaries, but I couldn't ever go all the way out of fear. I don't want to lose my family, or I don't want to be the black sheep, even though I always kind of felt like the black sheep anyway. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to be unforgiving, right? So much fear. But I had a therapist who really helped me unpack it just a few years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And I finally realized, like, all I'm doing here is responding to what I'm given. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm just trying to survive and live my life. And here's what that means for me. If you continue in this lifestyle, that's fine, but I will not continue in a relationship with you. I'm losing myself. I'm dying on the vine here.
If you can set a boundary that is that, healthy and strong,
Yeah.
and be okay setting it.
Yeah. Well, it takes time getting okay setting it, right?
It took me a long time with my mother.
Well, I was in my 40s.
I think I'd had my second child.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not seeing you anymore. I can't. This isn't working. You're not safe for my children. And my mother is alive, but doesn't have much of her mind left. So I think it's okay to say that now. I've been careful, about not saying those things. But I think.
Well, it's the truth.
And it's important to say, like you just said, I love what you said, because so many of us have people with alcohol problems, drug problems in our lives, and setting those boundaries, figuring out how to set those boundaries so that you can work on yourself, you can be whole, you can be your best for those 2 kids and your new marriage, but you got to set them, otherwise you're always pulled back into it.
But you know what, I think it's easier to set boundaries with, it's still hard, but like with a friend or with a spouse, but when it's your parent, and I had a lot of scripture that was being thrown at me, honor your father and mother, and I had to really decide, what does that actually mean for me right now? Or in general, what does that mean? Forgiveness, I had to really unpack that. What does that mean? Yeah. Can I set this boundary and still have forgiveness? Because I'm being told that, putting a boundary up with my parents means I'm not forgiving. And I'm like, that's not true.
That's a hard one.
It was really tough.
That's a complicated one to hold like this.
Yeah.
Where, I still care about them, but I've got a boundary that's not healthy for me to be here. And I'm working through forgiveness.
That's right.
That's a complicated one.
It was tough, man. But I didn't talk to my mom for, I think, 3 years. I didn't talk to my dad for 2. And they didn't come to my wedding. We didn't speak for quite a while. And honestly, I could breathe during that time. And it actually set us on a path to reconnect later. And my mom will send me a text about once a year when it comes around the time of her sobriety. And she'll say, thank you for holding a boundary with me. It got me clean.
So you're not speaking pushed her into sobriety?
Yes. And I'm not taking any kind of weird credit for that, but I do think that.
I think that's incredible.
I think it really did help her to say.
The power of you going, you're not healthy for me, and you're her only child.
Right. And I hated that for her. I didn't, this
I
wasn't
hate it for you.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm used to like hating it for everybody else, but I hated it for me too.
You're then completely alone without family. But you've done what you had to do to keep yourself healthy.
But it's
so powerful.
I was really pushed in a corner. I was like, I've got to do something here. And what I've been doing for decades is not working. Why am I going to continue this? And my dad didn't want me to step away because he needed me to keep the wheels turning on whatever this dance was that we're all doing. And so I think it really helped him too, to be able to say, okay, this isn't working. And our daughter walking away is making it obvious in public. And they are so great now. And she is so clean. She won't even take an ibuprofen anymore. She's like,
There is redemption, y'all. There really is redemption and becoming over and over and over again in our world.
Yeah.
I mean, your mom's story probably felt over in those years she was so addicted.
Oh, I never thought I'd be sitting here saying what I'm saying.
That story is still being rewritten in just a beautiful way.
And she's even spoken about it. We spoke together for the first time last year at a church. There were probably 500 people there, and she'd never spoken before in public. And she got up there, and I thought, well, good grief, she acts like she's been doing this her whole life. And I thought, maybe that's where I get it.
Yeah.
So many things I think I get from her that I didn't know, because I'm just now learning her personality. And she is a hoot. She's great. She's wonderful. I just adore her. So yeah, so much redemption later in life. It's really sweet. I'm really proud of her.
I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of her.
Thank you.